Hello, I'm Mark Wogan, and this is, of course, Spooning with Mark Wogan. Today's episode is brought to you by Tails.com, the 100% tailored dog food subscription. At Tails.com, there is no such thing as average dog food, because there's no such thing as an average dog, especially my dogs. My dogs, like me, their general happiness starts with being fed properly. And that is why I am loving Tails.com for my dogs at the moment. It was super easy for me to set up my tailored food plan for both my dogs, especially Murphy, who is always known for being a little bit hyperactive and always hungry. It's great to know that both the dogs, Murphy and Misty, are getting all their nutritional needs met with their specially tailored plan on Tails.com. It also gets delivered to your door, which is a bonus. Tails.com creates personalised meal plans along with their vets to ensure that your dog's well-being is catered for, their coat, their gut health, everything. Plus, it's super convenient. It's delivered directly to your door once a month on a subscription plan. Visit Tails.com to learn more. That's Tails.com. Hello and welcome to Spooning with me, Mark Wogan. We are here at Corrigan's Mayfair in the beautiful Lindsay Room. And as ever, I will be joined by a very special guest, and we will be challenging the food that they think they love and the food that they think they hate. But who is my special guest today, I hear you cry? Well, regular viewers and listeners will know Johnny does like an intro. So here we go. Are we ready? Sit comfortably. It's quite long, this one. Well, from 5 colours in her hair to 5-star meals on a spoon, today's guest is swapping drumsticks for cutlery as he joins me for a spoonie. You might know him as 1/4 of McFly, or perhaps from his dazzling footwork on Strictly, but recently he's been serving up all about you style, heart and humour on his own podcast, Binge, alongside Alex Jones, that I was on in March. So, it is only right that we flip the tables. So, whether we get deep like The Heart Never Lies, or just keep things obviously fun, there's one thing for sure: this episode is a real Stargirl moment in podcast crossover history. So please welcome drummer, dad, dancer, and now spooner, Harry Judd.
Hello. Thank you.
Blame Johnny for that.
Yeah, no, you did okay, Johnny. You did okay. Yeah. Well done, Johnny.
Well done, Johnny.
Yeah.
Quick round of applause for Johnny.
Well done, Johnny.
Thank you for joining me.
You're most welcome.
You know, you've been slightly hard to pin down.
I've been hard to pin down. Yeah,
You know.
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, well, that's all right.
So it was,
You're
a
busy, man.
cricket match was the first excuse, was it?
What was the second one?
So on Thursday, which
Yeah.
we were supposed to be recording, I'm doing, I don't know if I should say this, but I'm going to say it. I'm doing something on The Voice because my bandmates, Tom and Danny,
I know.
are
They're
coaches
They're coaches now.
on The Voice.
I know.
So I'm sorry, but the voice is more important than you.
Are you coaching some of their coachees?
Something like that. I don't think I'm very qualified to be giving coaching on vocal ability,
Well,
but
well, hold on a second. So this is the thing, right? As the drummer,
yes.
right? There's a certain pecking order in rock bands.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, there is.
That it's like, well, he's the drummer. You know.
I've been fighting
Don't
it.
talk to
I've
him.
been fighting
He's
it
the
for
drummer.
22 years. Do you know what? I think in my band, there should be a pecking order, but I think me and Tom are the most kind of like outspoken with a kind of
Or educated. One of the other.
possibly, but you know, Danny and Dougie have more than equal value, but I like to get my opinions across.
Well, I think, you know, the thing is, you're quite obviously tight as a unit, because as you say, you mentioned the figure of 22
years this month. What's the date today? Is it the 31st?
It's the first.
It's the first, yeah. 22 years this month. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean that is longevity in the world of rock.
It is,
isn't it?
Indeed, yeah.
And you know, but if we go back,
Mm-hmm.
you know, born in 85.
85, I know.
I mean, I was already 15.
Well, you actually...
Yeah, I was already 15. I think I was about to be kicked out of school for the second time. And you were born to Emma and Christopher, and we will talk a little bit more about Emma, because she showed some major chops.
She did, didn't she?
She showed some major chops, your mum.
I know.
But you went to Uppingham.
I went to Uppingham School, yeah.
Which has quite an alumni.
It does, yeah.
I mean, was it Rick Stein?
Yeah.
Who else have we got?
Stephen Fry,
Stephen Fry,
Johnny Vaughan,
Phil Spencer, John Suchet.
yeah,
You know, I mean,
Charlie Simpson of Busted.
Charlie
Yeah.
Simpson of Busted. Now, you and Charlie, were you the same year?
Charlie was a year above me.
He was a year above.
Yeah, so Charlie's a year above me. So I kind of watched him go off and have his success with Busted. You know.
And is that what inspired? What turned you into a drummer?
Well, I always loved music, so I grew up listening to a lot of the 60s, 70s pop rock bands. My dad was like really passionate about music, so I'd always loved music. And then I got to about the age of 13 and 14, and then sort of like more modern day rock music entered my sphere. And
did at that point was your dad going, "Oh, what are you listening to?"
yeah, it was like, it's just not as good as the old stuff.
It's not as good as the old
No,
stuff.
and I wanted to be part of that scene, and there was a bit of a scene at my school, and so naturally I started trying to play the guitar, got some guitar lessons, and there were already loads of good guitarists in my year, like really good. One of them being actually in a band called Everything Everything, who have had huge success as well. He's an incredible guitarist, Alex, and so I'd like watch them and just be like, that's going to take me years to get anywhere close to that, and I just didn't really take to it, didn't really enjoy it.
I mean, was there enough bands at your school to have a battle of the bands?
Yeah, we had a battle of the bands. Yeah, we did. And then basically there were two guys in my year group who had a little three-piece like punk pop band, and their drummer left their band to join a band in his year. So I suddenly saw this like vacancy, and I was like, well, maybe I could learn the drums. So I asked one guy in my year to teach me some drums, and I just fell in love with it literally straight away. I was like, oh wow, this is like a really nice feeling. I enjoy that, and became completely obsessed. And one of those guys in the three-piece pop punk band Boy Genius that I was then in,
Boy Genius.
he wanted to do what Charlie Simpson had done. So we used to sit in class, he used to talk to me about how he'd been to London and trying to audition and meet management. And anyway, he calls me one day and he's like, I've met Busted's managers and I played them some songs, and they're not looking to sign anyone, but they need a drummer and a bass player for this new band that they've started. And they asked me if I have any friends that play the drums or bass. And I was like, okay. And he was like, yeah, come to London on Saturday. And I obviously just thought that was absolutely crazy. Like, there's no way I'm going to go and audition for a band in London. But then I thought, do you know what? And do you know why I wasn't going to go as well? Because of a cricket match. But I thought, I know, it's tragic.
Yeah.
So, and then I
Can
thought,
I just say, Chris is our cameraman is nodding away as
Yeah.
he is a massive cricket.
yeah, Chris knows.
Yeah.
Uh,
The rest of us don't know why. But there we go.
Anyway, I thought, you know what? A day off school, trip down to London sounds fun. And I had no expectations. Anyway, long story short, I got down to final two. Dougie was at the audition as well. And within like 3 or 4 weeks, got the phone call to say they wanted me in the band. And then it was like, oh, okay, I'm leaving school and I'm moving to London. And that was that.
And what stage in your scholastic endeavours were you at? Were you about to do A-levels?
I was just about to do A-levels. I was about to do my final year. And yeah, my mum and dad tried to persuade me not to do it. Yeah. In fact, they told me, no, you might be captain of the cricket team.
Yeah.
Whoa. Yeah, I know. What could have been?
Harry?
And, you've done better than we expected in your AS levels. But I basically...
You're going to throw it all away.
Throw it all away to join some stupid band. But no, I looked them in the eye and I just said, look, you can't stop me. And if you do, I will never forgive you. I mean, that's for a 17-year-old, that's quite...
I mean,
yeah.
Luckily for you, it turned out all right.
Yes.
But was it originally called McFly?
It was. So Tom, basically, I tend to... my wife gets annoyed with me. Most people who are close to me get annoyed with me. I stretch stories out longer than they need to be. So let me try and tell it quickly.
Okay.
Basically, Tom originally auditioned for Busted. So Busted was James and Matt, and they then chose Charlie and Tom to join Busted. So they were a 4-piece guitar band. And then after like 24 hours being in the studio, they were like, actually, we don't want Tom. So, but the management...
Given his songwriting ability.
Quite. But then the management were like, but we like you, Tom, we'll keep developing you, go away, write some songs. Over the next year or two, he met Danny, they started writing songs together along with James Bourne from Busted, and they kind of created this project. And Tom just thought of the name McFly. Busted wrote the song Year 3000. Tom and James had this love for the film Back to the Future, so that was where the name came from. And then McFly was Tom and Danny. They basically wrote most of the first album. Because Busted were then having loads of success, the management were able to get them into the record labels. They were offered deals pretty much, I think, from everyone. And so then me and Doug came along. The record deal was there.
Well, whenever you're ready,
We'll take over from here. Yeah,
thanks,
so
we'll take it from here.
yeah, I was honestly, so many people will ask me still to this day, have you got any advice? And I'm like, literally, no. Like, right place, right time, pure luck.
Yeah.
And then when you get that opportunity, you have to
So
work
much of
hard,
it
right?
is.
So a lot of it is luck and right place, right time. So the only thing I say to people is just say yes to most opportunities, and then when you get one, work hard.
Now, you mentioned the word luck.
Hmm.
There was a movie.
There was a movie.
Just My Luck.
It was a movie.
Which there was quite a lot of rumour around
Yes.
that movie, and you and one particular Hollywood star.
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
Is any of that true?
Parts of it are true, yeah. Parts
Which
of it are true. I don't feel like this is the kind of classy podcast where I talk about such things.
You reckon you're classy? I mean, thanks.
Yeah, no, I mean, that was crazy. We were 19, so 2 years into the band, things were just non-stop. I mean, we look back at our diaries then, and we would literally have like half a day off in a month, and we would just here, there, and everywhere. And then it was like, there's this film opportunity in America, and it was like, okay, sounds fun. You just go there and you do it. And
I mean, because the way you've described it so far, Harry, you were just along for the ride.
I was along for that, pretty much was. Do you know what
In every sense of the word.
Yeah. So basically, it was a crazy period in my life, and I look back on it with a lot of fondness. You know, a lot happened in the first 2-3 years. Things have kind of settled down.
But no enduring trauma around sort of toilet cubicles or anything like that.
No trauma whatsoever.
Okay.
No.
Okay, good.
Only happy memories.
Happy memories. Happy memories. I mean, we could go in a bit more depth, but you don't seem to want to do that. So, you're in this, you find yourself in this extraordinary band.
Yeah.
Which, you're having hit after hit after hit. And, as you're doing that, it's almost like Busted were you took.
Yeah.
I think you took some of their wind.
Well, I think actually, no. I think we, again, were quite lucky because Charlie decided at that point that he had had enough. Because actually, Busted were kind of peaking. And the success they've had now since coming back has paid off because they kind of left at their peak. So their fan base was...
Do you think Charlie, I mean, not that you can speak on his behalf, but do you think it was because so much of the focus was on his eyebrows rather than his musical talent?
Do you know what? Charlie has fantastic eyebrows, but
amazing.
he is, as good as his eyebrows are, his voice and his talent is exceptional. And he's had a lot of success post Busted. And I think he's been quite open about it. Towards the end of Busted, he wasn't enjoying his time in Busted, and he wanted to pursue other kind of creative endeavors musically. And so actually, when he left, it just left things wide open for us. They were peaking. They were selling huge amounts of tickets. They were still top of the charts. And so I think it was, devastating for Matt and James.
I was going to say the other two must have been.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I think they had a really difficult kind of first few years of that. Like,
we can't go ahead without the eyebrows.
No, you can't. I mean, yeah, I'd like also.
But, you guys have always McFly have seemed to stay tight. Have there been moments, like there must be, when you're living in each other's pockets like that, where you just go, I want out of this, and somebody goes, play the tape forward, sunshine. You are really on to something here. Don't do
You know what? Never in the early days. No, never. Like we have, Tom and Danny met kind of organically. Obviously, me and Dougie auditioned for the band. So that's one of the most lucky things that has happened in McFly, is that we all got on so well. And so never, I think, in any point in the early days, did that thought cross anyone's mind. But of course there's difficult times. I guess high pressure is being in the spotlight, it's the kind of stress of it all maybe, but ultimately we were just having a great time.
But it's that interesting thing, and it's something, growing up in the family that I did, it's always an interesting theory of stress or of fame as trauma, rather than this thing that people see as nirvana. And you went from being at school,
Yeah.
suddenly in a band, and then suddenly that band is huge, and wherever you go, people are screaming your name, and and initially enjoyable or frightening?
Kind of like strange.
Mm.
Like I think I never fully connected with it straight away. I'm much more comfortable with it in the later stages of my career, because I feel like at first maybe I didn't feel like I'd earned it. Like I'd just come in, I was a pretty like inexperienced musician. I just joined this band, and next thing you know, like overnight success. So I kind of think I never massively connected with it early on. I'm much more comfortable with it now.
But you are, I mean, we met before when I did your podcast Binge, which is excellent. We will talk about that.
Thank you.
But and watching you do things like the One Show and that kind of thing, you're a very self-deprecating character.
I think all of us are in McFly. I think we've never been that comfortable, which isn't great, because you kind of sometimes need to be like a massive show off to be on stage. But mind you, when we like do
Danny
shows,
does all right.
Yeah, do you know what? Danny
does
is
really
good.
well with
Yeah,
that.
he does really well with that, and thank God he does, because he's an incredible performer. But that is, I don't know, maybe we're just not comfortable with it. I don't
But
know.
do you think there's an element of imposter syndrome?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Because I mean,
Definitely.
because you have had, and have been open about struggles you've had around, because you come across as this, avuncular, quite laid back, sort of, handsome young guys playing in the band, well, compared to me, and it wasn't, but the dialogue in your head was very different.
Yeah, I think imposter syndrome is very, very much a thing for me, and I think for most people. And it's no bad thing, because it keeps you on your toes. But there are often scenarios and situations we find ourselves in where, for example, like doing presenting, or, I'm constantly thinking, I am completely blanking this. Like, like what the hell?
But I don't think you can be creative without having imposter syndrome, because what drives you to keep doing it otherwise?
Probably insecurity, a desire for attention, maybe. I don't know. Like,
but
you know what I think it is? I think it's a desire or for success. I think, and I often I'm referring back to the band, but I think the four of us are quite similar. We want to be successful, and I think most people understand that have that drive. But success can be measured in obviously so many different ways, right? Like, we never try to complain too much about the experiences of being in a band, because ultimately like 95% of it has been positive and fun and amazing, and we're so lucky. But it's all relative, right? Any situation in life, what you're faced with can be stressful. Like, I'm a dad of 3, like that's stressful, but equally I try to remind myself I'm so lucky I have 3 healthy children. So it's all like, life is like a constant, reminder of trying to stay grounded.
But I think it is that thing that because you're in the public eye and you've had success, that people perceive your life is easy and breezy all the way through. And you touched on being a parent, and and you've had scares as a parent, with your children, and it's terrifying, and it doesn't matter how rich or famous you are. It's still terrifying.
Yeah, of course. You don't wake up in the morning and think, well, I've got a bit of money and I'm quite famous, so everything's fine. It literally doesn't cross your mind.
If you do, you're a half-wit.
Yeah, absolutely.
And look, we've all met famous people who are a bit
half-wits.
like that.
More than half.
Because that's the other thing. It's the assumption that if someone is famous, they're incredibly clever.
Yeah.
Not always the case.
No, I think as well, like the desire for success from our band has always come from the right place. So early on in McFly, we were never interested in going clubbing and that kind of scene. We all lived together. We'd be more interested in like house parties and going to the pub, and I'd remain friends with my friends from school. Like, there was never that desire to be in front of paparazzi and be in the papers and stuff. The drive has always come from wanting to be a better band, be a better live band, and have longevity. And so I think if you're in it for the right reasons, then you have a shot at having success.
I think your longevity as a band is down to the simple thing of really well crafted songs. They're just good songs.
Some good songs for sure. I think we're in a really nice phase of our career as well, because a lot of people from, say, when we started with under the age of 10 or were teenagers, they're now all in their 20s and 30s, and they had no kind of cynicism or kind of preconception of what McFly was. They just enjoyed the music. So now we're in this nice phase where we're kind of respected and people just enjoy McFly, and we're able to play, you know, Glastonbury and Download Festival, which is a bit crazy because it's a metal festival, but we still can draw a crowd and people enjoy it. And I think, you know, now
not the first time you played Glastonbury, were you terrified you were going to have bottles of pee thrown at you?
Do you know what? By then I was okay. It was the first ever festival we played at. We were terrified. We were like, we are going to get annihilated and we're going to get bottles of piss and all, but it was fine. When we were terrified, like, should we play our more like rocky album tracks? That was the thing.
Turns out they know all the words.
Yeah, and it was fun. And we were like, this is so much fun. Yeah. So we'll always like play the hits.
But you have avoided those kind of retro festivals kind of stuff, haven't you? So far. They keep offering and eventually we will crack. But we were discussing before that kind of thing of like, when do you stop? You know, that kind of thing now where those bands from the 60s and 70s, like a Rolling Stones or AC/DC or stuff like that, it's like, they're really old when they're on stage.
Do you know, I guess it's more of a thing of like, when do you stop enjoying it?
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm going to be such a grumpy old man. I just don't think I'm going to want to be like in my 70s. Like,
trust me, I'm 55.
You wouldn't want to do
pretty much anything.
And but also if there's an audience, like, it must be hard to not, you know, to say no. But like,
is that what it is? You know, is it the live, that thing of getting on stage and there are anything in excess of 10,000 people there just loving what you're doing?
There's literally
very
what it's
addictive.
About. This is and it's just fun. Like, you know, only 2 weeks ago we went up to a place called Westonbirt, which is north of Bristol. It was a summer show festival thing. We were headlining, and you rock up backstage, you're just sort of chatting, have some food. You know, we've done this like hundreds and hundreds of times, and you know, go out on stage and like, 11,000 people and the sun's setting, and everyone was there to have a good time, and we had this. Like, there was this electric atmosphere and chemistry, and, you know, came off stage and all of us like were absolutely buzzing. And then the next day we were Southampton and we're quite tired. We get there and we're like, God, wasn't last night amazing? Same thing, played Southampton, like however many thousand people there, all just there for a good time. And that is
and to be
very
doing
special.
That 22 years later.
Yeah, so I don't, and you just don't take that for granted. You know, you just feel kind of like, wow.
But you must have done it points.
Yeah, definitely. Do you know what? There was maybe like 4 tours in. I remember we were playing some venue in Scotland, and we were off the back of God knows how many tours and shows. And I'll be honest, I could not be bothered. And I was like, I'm not enjoying it. And I was at the back playing the drums. And there was a review set and said the drummer looked like he didn't want to be there. And I don't think I did.
That right.
I know. And so, but I think that was maybe, you know, you're in your early 20s, you're going through other sort of things. But now there's never a sense of that. Like, I love playing the drums. I love, you know, playing in a live band. I don't think I was ever be capable of doing what the other 3 do, being right up there the whole time, having to give everything. But yeah, we are so appreciative of what we have as a band.
Now, as the drummer,
yeah,
you would argue, probably quite rightly, that you put more effort into the gig than anyone.
Do you know what? Yeah, McFly might be an exception, because those 3 like run around like
they do.
Lunatics. And like Tom, who is so busy, he's got 3 boys, he's writing books and musicals, and then he comes in and does McFly. So he doesn't have much time to sort of stay supple and do exercise. But every show he comes up and he jumps in the air and splits his legs out.
Nathan's terribly busy as well.
I know, and so God knows how he does.
I mean, she's saving the world now.
I mean, they are incredible, both of them. So I don't know when it's going to catch up to them, but like, guitars are heavy. They run around, they jump. So I'm not going to like take anything away from what they do. But yeah, I work hard.
Sitting still.
No. I work hard. I work hard, Mark.
And at times, because I know the terminology, at times it is a roast. Is it not?
It is indeed.
For those who don't know, a roast is when you're really playing the drums very hard.
I sometimes I feel I play too hard.
Right.
But that's never a bad thing for an audience.
Technique.
Does
that mean? I mean, who likes it? Does Dougie as the bassist love it when you play hard?
Yeah, loves it.
Yeah,
loves it.
Because it's always the rhythm section.
There's
and then you see the others going, what's going on back there.
Yeah, there's definitely a connection. There has to be.
But to be able to roast with the best of them, you've got to stay in shape. And staying in shape is a big thing for you.
It is, yeah.
Because I think you've said in the past that that's kind of what saved your head.
Definitely.
Was staying in shape.
Definitely. Yeah, 100%. I think exercise has been the one thing, I kind of maybe won't articulate it too well, but the way I kind of describe it is it's the one constant, in my life that you can just rely on. It's not, there's nothing to it. You just, and also it holds you accountable, right? You
did a whole thing about it, which was get fit, get happy.
Yeah.
And I know from my own experience at various points is like, the happiest or the most relaxed or the most kind of at ease I've been is when I've been in the best shape I've been in. Apart from one time when I did a kind of whole transformation and got down to sub 7%.
I saw that. That was impressive.
Thank you. Not that you're pretty impressive peeled off yourself, if you don't mind me saying. But just like to say, it doesn't look like that under here anymore. But but the problem with it is body or face, you can't have both. So, when you're my age, you lose that much weight, people think you're dying, not that you're in the best shape of your life, which is disappointing. But you and I...
Are you okay, Mark?
Yeah.
Well, you got a lot of, are you okay?
Well, no, people coming up to Susan at the school going, how long's Mark got left? It's like, look...
He thinks he's in the best shape of his life.
He's in the best shape of his life. And he annoys the crap out of me because he's weighing his food.
Yeah, you can become so boring when you get into exercise.
Really
honestly, I'm really into running and it is the most boring thing. But for some reason...
Well, I mean, I noticed that your co-host, both on the One Show and the Binge podcast...
Yes, Alex Jones,
is not the slightest bit interested in your...
No, she finds me incredibly tedious. Which encourages me to talk about it even more, obviously.
But you have a thing which I share with you, which is if you are able to keep that level of fitness up, you're allowed to eat things like...
Tony's Chocolonely.
Tony Chocolonely.
Honestly, is this a gift?
That's yours. That's yours.
Amazing. So this got a bit serious for me. I've talked about this openly. I was doing one of these a night. I was doing one of that, and that is a big bar. Now, to some people, that may not seem like a lot. But...
I mean, look, let's have it real here. Do you think you might have addiction issues?
Quite possibly. You see, I don't drink or do any of that stuff, and haven't done for like, what is it now? It's 15 years.
But was that because of a key moment of clarity, like they say?
Yeah.
You go,
well, for me,
I've lost the thread with this.
For me, it was more that the anxiety, panic attacks, like the mental health impacts of all that stuff was becoming like completely overwhelming and unsustainable and incredibly not unenjoyable, just literally unsustainable.
And stimulants don't help with that sort of thing.
No, none of them did. And so it was like pretty much a blessing in disguise, as my manager at the time described it. I kind of felt like I was going through an awful time, and it was awful, but it meant that I had to confront it and then stopped doing any of that. And obviously the positive repercussions of that have been brilliant, but I've replaced it with exercise and chocolate. And like literally, I'd eat a lot because I exercise a lot, and I'd eat a lot, and then I'd go to bed and I'd break one of these bad boys up into a bowl, put it on my chest, watch my iPad, and just
But this was the other weird thing that came out of being on your podcast.
Yeah.
Was that you and your wife Izzy don't watch the same things at the same time.
No, we have very different tastes, you see. But I was watching Squid Games last night, and she looks over and someone's being like brutally murdered, and she's like, "What is wrong with you?" Like, she's reading some nice rom-com, like a book. She's like, "How do you just turn that off and go to sleep?" I don't know, but
I mean, I love a bit of horror.
Yeah.
I mean, horror, gore, all that kind of thing. Luckily, Susan shares that love with me.
Does she? Okay.
So we do watch the same things. I think we touched on this.
Yeah.
But I just found it bizarre that the two of you would be there both with iPads and headphones and not enjoying the same
No, we're
thing.
very different. We're very different tastes. But
Well, she was a musician as well.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
how
yeah.
you met.
Proper musician.
She's a proper musician.
Proper musician.
She was playing in all.
In Orzo on our second tour. Yeah. She's great. And thankfully those musical genes have spread down to our children. But some people assume that they're my genes. They're really not. They're They're the Johnston family
I
genes.
just keep quiet about that.
I know.
Take
but
all the
this is
credit.
Another thing.
He's in the rock band.
Another
It's
thing.
Dad.
People assume because I'm in McFly, they assume I'm a great singer. I shouldn't admit it. I'm not a great singer. I'm a very average singer. But
So there's no chance of you doing the Masked Singer.
no, absolutely not. But most years when the season's on, I can see tweets. I reckon that's Harry Judd. And people also say, obviously you're a singer, and I just go, yeah.
I mean, did you sort of?
By the
have
way,
one
I'm
of
only one a week now. I'm Saturday nights.
But did you have one of those weird hangy mics that you occasionally made a noise?
I think I tried in the early days of the band, but it wasn't worth it. Those three at the front are good singers.
There's Tom and Danny going. Is there any chance you could turn Harry down?
Yeah, I'd be like, Look, I'm very. I can hold a note, but honestly, like they're exceptional.
No, they are.
Yeah.
Now, the thing at the moment is,
Yeah.
and I think it may be something to do with it is midsummer and the temperature is hot.
Yeah, it's hot.
That there is the debate:
Mm-hmm.
chocolate in the fridge or not.
Chocolate always in the fridge for me.
Really?
Yeah, always in the
So
fridge.
I've got some cool ones here that have been in the
Mark,
fridge.
it's not Saturday night.
Yeah, I'm just
It's
saying
not
they're
Saturday night.
bite-sized pieces of Tony's.
Do you understand? When I have one, it's very hard.
I've also got another whole box
to do the
here
rest
as well.
of the day.
I've got,
Now this is my
that's your go-to,
That's
isn't
my
it? Which
go-to,
is the
yeah.
sea salt caramel.
sea salt. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's okay. So am I wanting to?
Yeah. I mean,
Am I in?
but where do you stay? So you would always out the fridge.
Yeah, and I would never just have one of these. I wouldn't just casually have a chocolate. I wait for the Saturday night full bar. There's a little shop round the corner from my house, and most Saturday nights I walk there, and me and the guy behind the counter, I'm like, Saturday night, mate.
Yeah.
Get me my Tonys.
It's so rock and roll.
It's so rock and roll. And ideally, I'd be in bed by 9. Like ideally, kids out
Sorry,
the way.
remind me how old you are now.
I'm 40 this year.
Oh, there we go. The rot's set in.
My kids go to bed later than me, and they're only 9 and 7. Well, the 3-year-old doesn't, but
You know Keith Moon, are you?
no Keith Moon, no Keith Moon, no John Bonham. I am as dull as they come, honestly. Like I've talked about running, fitness, chocolate, and I'm your guy.
Many people, though,
Mm-hmm.
you came to their attention because of your dancing ability.
Yeah,
That changed how people perceived you, didn't it?
It did, yeah, it did. I mean, my granny, my late grandmother, finally thought I'd made it. I mean, she was like,
All that silly rock and roll stuff.
yeah, no, absolutely.
Ballroom dancing is where it's at.
Ghastly stuff. She was honestly so sweet, and that was a lovely thing for me, like to see your granny, like super proud of something. So yeah, no, strictly, yeah, that was 14 years ago, Mark. 14 years.
Now, listen,
It's frightening.
Were you bullied?
Was I bullied when during
on
Strictly? No, I wasn't bullied. I was not bullied. I mean, I guess it's an intimidating environment, but so many things in life are. But no, it was never anything when I was there that was,
Because I can't help feeling,
bad.
right? So you come on there as a celebrity, right?
Ish.
Depends. You definitely.
I think most people have heard of McFly. I don't think they maybe knew
Yeah,
who I was.
Anyway, you come on there as a celebrity, and you are partnered up with what essentially is a top-level athlete.
Yes.
Right? Who is a competitor. Right? So if you don't want to do what they're telling you to do, or you are in any way lazy, you're going to get up the competitor's nose.
You are. You are. You are.
And I think to in a lot of cases, and I'm not diminishing what some people have said and what they've experienced, because some of it was of a misogynistic nature, not just a bullying nature. But I can't help feeling like it's like, well, you signed up for it.
Well, do you know what in life, sometimes people just don't get on as well, do they? They just don't get on. And unfortunately, people are coupled up and they don't get on. And then they have to spend months on end together.
And touch each other.
Every day, and touch each other and tell each other what to do. And when there's, different personalities, different egos, different levels of desire and competition, it's always going to create some drama, But thankfully for me, I had an amazing experience. I loved it.
But do you know that the crew secretly run a sweepstake?
Do they?
As to the first person who starts behaving like a real dancer.
Really?
And it's when they start stretching out.
Yeah, that was me day one.
Yeah. So whoever had you in
Yeah,
the
but
sleep state got one early.
You know what? I quickly gave up though, because it's such a pain stretching, and you're so knackered from the day of rehearsing that I stopped stretching very early on.
But you strike me as quite a competitive person.
yeah,
I mean, I've seen you do other stuff where you compete, and you're not one for sort of shrugging. Oh,
No. And if I ever was, then I was lying. I think I got to a point, maybe a level of maturity or acceptance of that's just the way I am, and don't try and fight it, like try and use it to your advantage. Sometimes as a kid, you know, it gave me enemies when at school because I was so competitive, and sometimes it's not enjoyable being competitive. Like I can be doing the most seemingly like unimportant thing, but I'll get nervous, and because I want to win or I want to do well. So, but I feel that is a scratch that I need to itch. It's why I love like running now, because I enter these races and there's an element of competition, and because that's the one thing for me with music. There's no, apart from the charts, which aren't really as relevant now. There's no real competition, and a lot of it you can't control. You can control how hard you work, you know, at running or in the gym, and you can control your effort level, and that's kind of what I enjoy. Same with Strictly, you can control how hard you train, how much commitment you put to it, and I gave it my all.
But because you have a level, I suspect, that you won't dip below in terms of commitment to something.
Yeah, definitely, because my mum has always said to me, like, growing up, as long as you try your hardest, that's all I can ask. And that's the same thing now I feel for my children. I'll say to my daughter who started doing things, I'm like, as long as you try your hardest, that's all I care about. And so I try and stick to that.
But I mean, we're going to touch on this. Your mother's quite competitive too.
She's competitive. My dad's very competitive as well. So I've got like a real mixture, like a potent mix.
We're going to talk about Emma and a race across the world in a minute. But firstly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bestow upon you the Spooning with Mark Wogan
leopard print. I love
it.
This one's a bit of leopard
from
print.
our friends at Smug.
Lovely stuff.
That's for you to keep as well.
Okay, nice.
You like that?
Lovely, yeah.
You get to keep that.
See me on stage wearing these next week.
Exactly.
All right, here we go.
Right, are you ready? Because it is time for your first spoon.
Okay, and I don't know whether this is something I like or I dislike.
Yeah, no, this is the whole thing. I mean, that's why you're blindfolded. Right, so I'm just gonna. There we go.
You want honest feedback? You wanting me to guess what I'm eating?
You've got to guess what you're eating and decide whether you love it or hate it. Open wide. Here we go. What have we got there?
That
is
steak.
It is. Well done.
And I love steak.
I know. So take the blindfold off. I've just very simply done you a Wagyu ribeye steak. Is there anything better in life? I mean, what is your preferred cut? This tells me a lot about a person.
I think the sirloin.
Really?
Bit of fat. A lot of flavour in the fat, right?
Yeah, well, fat is flavour.
Fat is flavour. So
that's why I prefer a ribeye, because you've got the
Sorry, did I say sirloin?
Yeah.
Sorry, genuinely, I meant ribeye.
Yeah.
And so, sorry, I used to order sirloin every time.
Yeah.
But my bandmate Tom, he'd always order a ribeye, and I was like, I thought sirloin was like the posh one, it's like the slightly smaller fat one. I'm getting like the more upmarket one. And he was like, no, get the ribeye. More fat. So sorry, I always get the ribeye now.
Yeah. And the other thing that a lot of people don't understand about a steak is you need to put an awful lot of salt on it.
You do.
And if you are training hard or doing that kind of thing, that's fine.
Electrolytes, isn't it, Mark?
Exactly.
Don't get me started. It's a really boring chat.
Well, I mean, look, is there going to be a follow-on from Get Fit, Get Happy? Is there the next stage? Because now running has you've tried lots of different sports.
Yeah.
One which I'm thinking of taking up.
What's that?
Which is paddle.
Paddle's great. Danny, my bandmate Danny's currently completely hooked on paddle.
Really?
It's to the point where he's late for rehearsals now. Because me and Danny are at the same gym. So he'll be like, I can't make it till 11. I'm in the gym. I can see you playing paddle, mate. I can see you playing paddle. No, paddle is absolutely completely.
For people who don't know, what is it? A third size? Is it a 2/3 or a third size court?
I don't know exactly, but it's basically a mixture of like tennis and squash.
Yeah, you can play off the back wall.
Play off the back wall. It's easier than tennis, so it's more enjoyable. You play as a pair always, so it's doubles, so it's more sociable and fun. It's very irritating, but you always want to come back for more. It's honestly such a great sport.
I'm thinking of taking that up.
You should. You'll get hooked.
Because I, like you, am a little bit competitive.
Yeah.
To the point where when we were playing tennis as kids, nobody wanted to play with me.
Yeah, no.
Because if it didn't go my way, there was a lot of rackets being thrown out of court.
Yeah, well, I'm so happy or grateful I didn't discover golf until my 20s, because I think I would have.
Well, I grew up in a golfing family. So I actually gave up golf when most people take it up.
Yeah, right.
When I turned 40.
Because you were just so fed up with it.
Well, it was just like, why am I doing this to myself? This is awful.
It's very, very much for me now. Just make sure I play for fun. That was delicious, by the way.
You can have more of it.
Yeah, I think I will.
Bless you. So there is a complete love of all things steak, and obviously being interested in your fitness, that kind of protein here.
Yeah, it's very nutritious as well. I mean, I hear, I'm no expert on the nutrition, but I hear, steak once a week.
But you must know a little bit about nutrition, because, I mean, there's lots of pictures of you ripped in your pants. Not in ripped pants.
Ripped in my pants, yeah. Do you know, I've done less of that since I've had kids. I'm kind of, waiting for the day for my daughter to be like, Dad, what is this about?
Yeah.
So a little bit like basic level. I mean, look, it's pretty basic, right? You gotta have your protein, your fruit and your veg, some carbs, a nice balanced mix. That's what I try and teach my kids. Have a Tony's once a week, Mark.
Yeah, have a Tony's once a week.
That's the key.
Because everybody fills out a little questionnaire before they come on the show.
Yeah.
And you talked about having quite simple tastes.
I'm quite
with your
basic,
food.
yeah.
But you then did win a little cookery competition on ITV.
I mean, luck was on my side there.
Cooking
with the Stars.
Cooking-
Season 1.
Cooking with the Stars season 1, where you did sort of cook some quite advanced stuff.
Yes. I mean, with the help of my chef, Nisha, she was amazing. She, yeah. I mean, look, you, in that show, you go head to head with someone each week, and every week I lost. And then went to a cook-off and then won the cook-off. I stumbled my way through to the final. There was 3 in the final. Denise Van Houten went straight through. Me and AJ Adudu had a cook-off. I won the cook-off. Final 2, Denise Van Houten. And I somehow managed to cook a good buttered chicken in the final. And I took away the golden saucepan, which is in the loft.
Can I just say, again, we come back to competitive, Harry.
Yeah, I was competitive. I mean, I nearly sliced my hand off doing that show. I mean, that's an exaggeration, but I came away with like 2 massive bandages because I was like,
well, I mean, it is to time.
Yeah, it is time. Very stressful.
It seems the timings in it seem a little more frenetic than, say, Celebrity MasterChef.
It's very stressful. Like,
I mean, what if Celebrity MasterChef came?
Not good enough. Danny did that and got to the final 3. Yeah, and arguably should have won.
And now, out of the 2 of you, who is the better cook?
Danny, by a long shot. He's amazing. Yeah, he's properly good, and he's really passionate about it. His 2 passions in life are 3: paddle, cooking, and music. Playing guitar, production, being in the studio. He is very, very good.
Have to get him on here and challenge him.
You are, honestly, he's such a good.
I mean, I'd like to get a full McFly.
You want to get collect the whole set?
Yeah, the whole set.
Nice. Danny is one of those guys who could open the fridge and be like, right, I could take that, rustle up this. Yeah, he's very good.
You see, I like that. Because I always say, no passion for food, no passion.
Yeah, passion, right, exactly. I'm better at being fed. I love to eat the food. But I cook in our house, obviously.
Yeah. So, but when you were growing up, what was food like at home?
Great. My mum was a brilliant cook. Learned from her mum. She, we were lucky. And also, one thing for me is we often sit down as a family at the dinner table together. And yeah, great food from my mum. Like proper hearty, family meals. And
particularly her spaghetti.
My mum's spaghetti bolognese is just, something to behold.
But also to behold is your mother presented with the challenge of racing across the world,
Yeah.
which everybody got to know,
Yeah.
Emma,
Yeah.
last year, wasn't it? You did that.
Maybe 2 years ago. No, yeah, 2 years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think it came out in 20.
Yeah, it came out. Yeah. She was without doubt the star of the show. My mum was incredible, and I knew it because I was nervous about having her on a TV show with me. I was thinking, oh God, it's my mum. How's she going to be? Is she going to be? I don't know. You just don't never done it before, and very quickly I was like, this is amazing. She's just brilliant on camera, and she's, it brought out the best in her. There's not many flaws in my mum. She's just a upbeat, positive person and perfect companion for that show because it was a great experience, but it's hard. It is legit.
But it was just nice to see. I watched it at the time, and it was just nice to see how in tune you and your mum are as a mother and son.
Yeah, well,
it was it just sort of reminded me of the relationship that Susan and Harry have, where they kind of just there's always a little bit of tussle there.
Always, yeah. Which I'm experiencing now with my 7-year-old. But it is such an important relationship, and it's develops over time, and that was a key moment for us as well.
Well, because you said, my when the opportunity arose to go into McFly, you were very adamant.
Absolutely adamant.
I wonder what it's going to be like for you when one of your kids does that to you.
Yeah, I know. Terrifying. Terrifying.
Well, I tell you what is terrifying is I'm going to have to ask you to put the blindfold on again because it's time for your second and final spoon, Harry.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to slide this in here now.
Started me off so nicely.
I know.
I'm going to have that
Did I lull you into a false sense of security?
A little bit.
Let's see. Okay, so here we are. Open wide. I've got a nice big mouthful of this for you. A little bit wider.
Oh.
There we go. There we go. Now, tell me, what flavors, textures, what are you getting there? You enjoying that?
I am.
Oh, good.
Very much.
Mm-hmm.
Am I getting Orzo?
Yes, good spot. Which
Nice
you did
seasoning.
put down as your favourite pasta.
There's a bit of... Oh, God. There's definitely some herbs in there, Mark.
Yes, there is.
There's a bit of pepper, a bit of tomato.
Yes. He's got a good palate, this boy.
It's delicious.
Well, whip the mask off. Whip the mask off, because I'm going to surprise you, because that is obviously Orzo, but that is done with cherry tomatoes.
Delicious.
A little bit of parsley, pinch of chili flakes.
Lovely.
Some fresh garlic and anchovy.
Is it?
Yes.
Interesting.
Which that you hate.
I will happily have that. When we stop recording, I'm taking that bowl and that steak and I'm going over there and I'm going to finish it.
Good. Well, I mean, look, I'm very happy that I have changed your opinion on that because anchovy, if used correctly, it's a seasoning as much as anything else.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I'll
Okay.
talk you through that recipe
All
off camera.
right. Love
But-
it.
Harry, it has been a pleasure to finally get you to sit with me and
Sorry.
and spoon gently together.
Yeah, you're a very good spooner, Mark.
Well,
Very
I
good
try.
spooner.
I try. But and I wish you every success with McFly. Long into I wish to see you as a septuagenarian on stage. Yes, I do. You'll be easier for you
Well,
because you're sitting down.
True. There are many great old rockers out there providing inspiration, so
Yep.
it can be done.
But also, I love the podcast Binge.
Thank
That's
you very much.
fantastic.
Thank
I love you and Alex Jones together,
Yeah,
who's also
great.
been a fellow spooner.
She has indeed.
And,
Yeah. I tell you who I listen to on your podcast is Jay McGuinness because he's a good friend of mine.
Yes, he was
Absolutely.
great.
Jay is one of the best people I've met.
And quite a good dancer in his own.
He's a very
as
good
well.
dancer. Yeah, very good, very good.
But that is all for this week. A big thank you to Harry, of course, for taking part. I will again be joined by another very special guest next week, where we'll be challenging the food that they love and the food that they hate. A massive thank you to Simon, the head chef here at Corrigan's Mayfair, and the use of the Lindsay room. It's a beautiful room.
It is.
And join me next week when I will have another very special guest. And if you like what we're doing, you can see us on the Virgin YouTube channel in beautiful Technicolor. And you can get us wherever you get your podcasts from and find us on social media by just searching Spooning with Mark Wogan. Until next week, stay beautiful.